Good evening, race fans. My name is Jake Vescan, and we are here for another round of the Spino Designs and Graphics National Series here at the virtual Talladega Motor Speedway. Got everybody out on the grid. I'm going through your starting grid quickly here for you as the field makes their way around. Chris Downey was your pole sitter. Brandon Fielder, the 39, starting second. Parker Collins, the 18, third. Darren Staff, 45, fourth. James USA in the 7, starting fifth. Alex Tallman in the 8, starting sixth. Zachary Wareham, the 11, starting 8th or 7th. Joseph Jarrow, the 3rd, starting 8th. The 88 machine, Jeffrey Belk in the 70, starting 9th. Zachlin Durba, 37, starting 10th. Anthony Pissarro, the 43, starting 11th. Grant Beck in the 2, starting in 12th, going back through the rest of the field. 13th is going to be the 32 is Lucas Strayer. Austin Doran, 25, starting 14th. Austin Doran starting 15th. Brian Lorenzo, 16th. Len Bundren, 18th. Chris Sawyer, 17th. Wes Gallo, 19th. Bryn George, 20th. Brady Floyd, 21st. James Beaumar, 22nd. Jesse Atkinson, 23rd. Matt Moreau, 24th. Through the rest of the field, you're going to have William Britton and Brett Murphy. Driver's going to be getting ready to go green. 50 laps tonight. No fast repair, 65% fuel capacity, 2 sets of tires. See how this works out for them. Fans on their feet. Pace car is going to be pulling off. We will be going green here momentarily. Looks like Downey going to be starting on the inside row. Drivers again. This is the pack racing all night. We'll see how this works out for all of them. It's going to be an interesting one. Could have some great racing, tight packs, or we could have some chaos. Downey gets off to a massive start. Pulls way ahead of Fielder. Fielder and Staff going to drop down in front of Parker Collins on that inside row. On the outside, you've got the 8 of Alex Tallman and the 88 of Joseph Jarrah. On the outside, they're going to be the only 2 working the high side right now. Oh, we've got a couple drivers all the way down the bottom. Looks like I think that is people that are electing. Darren Staff, Parker Collins is down there. I believe those are drivers that are electing to move their way to the back. They know chaos can easily ensue, and with it being a 50-lap race, there's still plenty of time for things to happen. So they're going to be looking to drop back, try to avoid some of the chaos, and then work their way back up through the race. Inside row, Tallman takes over the lead. He's got 7 of James USA behind him, as well as the 11 of Zachary Wareham. Joseph Jarrah running now, bumping himself to that outside row. It looks like James jumps up in front of him. It's going to also lead the 12 of Chris Downey on the outside behind them. Brandon Fielder also back there. So we're going to go 2 by 2 into turn number 1 and 2. Tallman still on the inside ahead of Wareham, and Belk on the outside, led by James USA. Joseph Jarrah, Chris Downey there. Oh, Jarrah makes a quick move to the inside to pull in front of Tallman. Looks like USA tried to block that a little bit as they work their way back down into turn number 3. You see all these drivers working their way around turn number 3, that high side, trying to gain some momentum. They've got 6 cars on that outside lane, 6 cars in the main pack of the inside lane, and a couple cars trying to break their way up. Looks like we've almost got 2 distinct groups forming up. 26 cars tonight. 25 are on the track. Work our way back to a closer shot as you see Jarrah lean just inside of James USA. Chris Downey tight on his bumper. They're going to come down the back stretch here. And we got about 7 or 8 cars lined up on the inside. You got about 6 or 7 on the outside. A couple drivers there in and out. Jarrah leading Tallman. They're about car length and a half to 2 car lengths ahead of Wareham and Belk. The draft easily can suck the drivers up from behind, allow them to catch up. Green so far, though, as we work our way across the line to finish lap number 3 of 50 tonight. Looks like Brett Murphy, the only driver not to show up to take the green flag so far. Drivers work their way down the backstretch. James USA getting a little loose, works his way down to the bottom in front of Jara. That's going to leave Downey as your lead car on the outside row. We see almost a 3 wide back there as well for a moment. Looks like that might have been between the 13 of William Britton. Possibly Wes Gallo, the 07, Glenn Bundren Jr. in the 5. See Fielder as well as the 37 of Declan Durbo way on the high side, almost in the 3rd lane. They're going to try to slide themselves back down low. Looks like Fielder's still going to run up high. Outside lane's kind of stalled out James USA. Back in the outside lane in front of Downey. Trying to push their way up there. Also got B25 of Austin Doran on the outside trying to push them to the front. Big run. USA going to try to take the lead on the outside. Let's see if he sticks to that outside line or if he's going to try to cut his way down in front of Jar and go back to the inside lane. Jar gets a run though off of turn number 4. So USA not quite clear to do that yet. You see drivers in the front wanting to control both lanes. Going to be jumping back and forth. Just jump in front of whichever one they feel like has the best run, puts them in the best position to try to control the lead. Some drivers take the philosophy of wanting to stay out in front, be in front of as much of the chaos that happens. Other drivers like to lay in the back, wait it out till the end and try to make their moves, hoping to avoid any chaos that might happen, be able to slow down in time for it. Both are viable strategies. We've seen both work time and time again here at the super speedways. Drivers try to put themselves in the best positions they can, but we know here on super speedways, luck plays a massive factor in results. Talladega, a 2.66 mile D-shaped super speedway. 36 degrees of banking. It is the biggest oval we see on the NASCAR circuit every year. Typically brings one of the rowdiest parties. Talladega Boulevard, famous for its nightlife when the racing is done on track. These virtual drivers are ready to mix it up and hopefully be able to celebrate victory lane at the end of the night. James USA working both lanes. You see him cut down backstretch in front of Jara. Leaves Downey, Doran on the outside. Also behind them, that's the 37, the Declan Durba. Inside row, you got James USA, Joseph Jara the 3rd, Alex Tallman, Wareham, Jeffrey Belk all lined up. That's your first 5. USA jumps back up to the high line in front of Downey, trying to get a push again. He's trying to play whichever line. It's going to be the most momentum for him. Inside line starting to get a lot more cars, you see. Outside of the 6 or 7, they're lined up on the outside near the front. Almost everybody is now lined up on the bottom. Looks like we got a couple cars. Wes Gallo making a move all the way from the bottom up to the top, back down to the bottom. He's swerving. I believe he's got 45 at Darren Staff right behind him. Some aggressive moves going in the back. We've still got side-by-side running up front. Jaro leads on the inside row. USA got that lap just at the line. Outside line starting to get some more cars formed up into it. More evenly balanced each of these lines is with the cars in it. The more momentum each one will have. Glad to have all you tuned in tonight for tonight's race. This is again the 6th race of the season. The Spino Designs and Graphics National Series. Glad to have everybody on board. Caution free so far if you're just tuning in here. We're on lap number 10. Got 41 laps left to go. Jara leading the way just ahead of Alex Tallman and James USA. These two have been swapping the lead back and forth the last few laps. Glad to have everybody tuned in. Glad to have Spino Designs and Graphics as our title sponsor for this season. Appreciate all the viewers tuned in. Big shout out to everyone rooting on not only the drivers, broadcasters alike. We appreciate all their support. Let us know who you think might show up as the race winner tonight. We may see somebody unexpected. Talladega has a way of finding equalizer. Oftentimes drivers can put themselves in position, steal a victory away that might not have been expected otherwise. We saw the 24 Jason Dodonna do that at the start of the season at Daytona. Unfortunately, he is not in the field tonight to defend his super speedway title. We could easily see somebody else show up unexpected. Interesting to see who that could potentially be tonight. So leave us a comment. Let us know who you're looking for. Front's gotten a little more disorganized, especially up high. USA leading Jara on the bottom. Downey Tallman moves up to the high line, so it's a little bit of a different pairing on the outside that we haven't seen. More cars again dropping to that inside line. We're now going to see 3 wide as Austin Doran, Declan Durba jump up to the extreme high side. Durba falls in behind Tallman, leaving Durba is the only one on the outside. Jara gets shuffled out. He's trying to find his way back into the groove without shuffling too many people. Drivers shuffling up the track to avoid him. He slots in all the way back on the 43 of Anthony Pissarro. So we've got 4 cars up front. It's Downey, Tallman, USA, Wareham, all up front. USA jumps to the outside line. We work our way across the start-finish line to complete lap number 12. 38 laps left to go here tonight. Yeah, looks like we've got of the 24 cars on track. Looks like right around 19 or 20 are lined up on the bottom. Got about 5 cars lined up on the outside, trying to get shuffled, but see Jara working that extreme outside line. Looks like Durba is going to try to jump in behind him, try to push him up to the front. A couple other drivers moving their way to the outside. Graham Beck working the outside line. William Britton trying to go to the high side now. We've got 3 wide for second back. Downey's in front of this leading, but got USA and Doran in the middle. Jara, Durba on the outside. Looks like they're going to drop back to the middle line now. So go back to 2 lines up front. Tallman working second car on the inside row just behind the 12 of Chris Downey. USA, Doran, Jara, Durba all trying to get the run on the outside. They are coming up to slower traffic. It's going to be the 38 of Matt Moreau that they're going to be approaching down the backstretch quickly. Curious to see what happens as they reach them. He stays high. 3 wides. Gonna be tough. Oh, as I say that, you see the 11 of Zachary Wareham getting spun. That's gonna bring out our first caution here on lap number 14. Big wreck there for Wareham. Like Jeffrey Belk got into him, got a little loose. So heavy front end damage for Wareham. You also see Belk driving there, pulling away from that with heavy damage as well. Brings out our first caution of the night. So we're working lap 14 coming across the line. Start lap 15, so early problems for Belk and Wareham. See if we can grab you a quick replay of what happened to bring out that caution. Back this up and see if we can watch Jeffrey Belk here. right, this is a little bit earlier than where it happens, so let's see if we can rewind this just a hair for you and see what happened is. We're going to look at Zach Wareham, the 11 Toyota Supra. You see him in the middle there. He just kind of pushes up the track a little bit, gets into the 37 at Declan, but that sends him down. They make contact again, spins him across the track. He's trying to save it, putting a lot of counter steer into it. Just comes back up right in front of the 70 of Jeffrey Belk, and unfortunately those two head up the track, make contact. Very fortunate the majority of the field was able to avoid that one. Led to definitely some tough moments for the rest of the field trying to take evasive action, duck to the low side of the racing surface, if not onto the apron to dodge that one. But looks like just 2 cars involved in that one. So a little bit of a lapse in judgment or possibly a tight handling condition for Wareham sent him up the track into Durba, and unfortunately that sent him back down Jeffrey Belk with nowhere to go to avoid that one. It's like all drivers coming onto pit road, so we are going to step away for a quick commercial break while these drivers complete their pit stops here into the first caution on lap 15 of 50 tonight. Apologies for those issues. We are back here live, back under green flag conditions, working lap number 21. James USA, after that caution, still back in the lead. Austin Doran, the 25, right behind him. They're working the inside line just ahead of the two. Graham Beck as the 88 of Joseph Jara pulls in as well. Graham Beck's trying to get some momentum in a outside lane. Pulls Jara up with him. You see the 43, Anthony Pissarro. 12 of Chris Johnny trying to fill in that gap on the inside. Jara jumps back down, abandons. The 64 of Brett Murphy. Brett Murphy, late into the race, not take the green flag to start, but has jumped in for some laps to help out some teammates or experience. But he is off the pace. Up. He's in 23rd. Last car on the track. Got three drivers out. It is Marabella, Wareham, and Belk. Both Wareham and Belk casualties of that wreck that brought out our first caution tonight. Appreciate everybody, though, tuned in. Again, apologies for that issue there during that caution. We should be sorted out the rest of tonight for you. I'm back working the outside line just in front of Jara, Brett Murphy. Inside, you've got USA, Doran, Cero, Downey. Most of the field, again, still lined up single file on the inside line. We've got about 6 or 7 drivers working the outside lane. Just as I say that, you see Wes Gallo, the 07, trying to work the extreme outside line. He ducks back in behind the 64, Brett Murphy. A couple drivers trying to take looks to the outside, see if they can advance their position, but it's been predominantly inside lane glued towards the apron, and a middle lane, which has been the outside lane typically. We've had a few moments of 3 wide, but for the most part, typically 2 wide. A lot of drivers still riding in the back as we are not yet to halfway. Only 1 caution so far tonight. Drivers did all elect to pit under that first caution. I believe they are going to need to stop one more time for fuel, but we'll see how fuel mileage plays out in the draft. Drivers behind other cars using advantage of that draft, able to save more fuel by not having to use wide open throttle as much as the drivers leading lines. So we'll see if that creates a discrepancy in fuel burn. Maybe a difference in pit strategy the rest of the race should we go green. We've got almost 4 wide now. Graham Beck getting sorted out in the middle. Murphy second lane up. Beck now falling in behind Murphy, so we're back to 3 wide as you've got Doran on the inside, Murphy in the middle, Jara on the outside. They're just behind the 7 of James USA. Oh, Jara gets turned into the wall, somehow saves it though, still goes even with that right side damage he got. I am not sure how he kept that car pointed straight. Oh, and just as I say that, the 42 of James Bomar gets turned. That's going to bring out our second caution of tonight. Single car incident, but James Bomar having a bit of an issue. You saw that coming into turn number 3 and 4. Ticker does show first caution, but it is actually our second. It's off count. Looks like Glenn Bundren also possibly an issue, but we'll get you a replay of what happened to get Bomar turned there. Looks like that engine blows up. His night just got a lot longer having that engine expire there. So while the field catches up behind the pace car, let's see if we can find you a good shot of what happened to Bomar. I also want to look at what happened to Joseph Jara. Let's take a look at that first. Well, a little bit here under the caution. You can see Joseph Jara working the outside line. This is when we almost got to 4 wide. See Westgal on the 07 pushing Jara hard on the outside line. Graham back there, 1 lane below. And you've got 64 of Brett Murphy and the 25 of Austin Doran there. So we're going to see, I believe it's going to be coming off of turn number 2, is where Joseph Jara See if he gets a little bit of help or if he just gets himself into that outside retaining wall. Sent him for a little bit of a slide contact with the wall. He did a great job keeping it straight. I don't know how he did personally, but we'll take a look at that, and then we will take a look at the wreck for James Bomar that brought out this caution. So you're going to see Jara coming off turn 2 here. He's working the outside lane. Wes Gallo making a hard cut to the inside. Jara blinks momentarily. I think this is where you're going to see the contact between Gallo and Jara. Yeah, Gallo just gets a run. I don't know if the disconnection there, the blinking made it tough for Gallo to judge where Jara was, or if he just pushed right through and gave him a bad shot to the right rear and sent him into the wall. But a great job by Jara to keep that straight. And let's look at what happens to James Bomar. Barmore and the 42 Cincinnati Tools Chevy Camaro. He's going to be on this inside line. We see Austin Doran coming back up the track. Let's see if that stacks that up. So they're going to work their way down the backstretch. Better look if we can find a camera angle. It's going to be really good at this. I think this is going to be our best one coming into the corner here. Oh, looks like the 37 of Declan Durba just comes down the track. Doesn't actually make contact with Bomar. A little bit of a prediction code issue. iRacing was not quite sure whether or not they were actually going to be making contact. So a bad break there for Bomar to be turned around when he didn't actually have any contact with Durba. And then in the process of spinning, Glenn Bundren Jr. in the 5 also gets a hard shot from the 42, sends him across the inside. So that's what caused Bundren to have damage as well. But yeah, really not anybody's fault. I mean, Durba's certainly coming down, but was still technically clear. Just a bad break with iRacing. Not quite sure where to put everybody. It's a tough break there for both drivers. Durba gets away with it relatively unscathed. Almost all drivers electing to come in under that caution. Wes Gallo taking a gamble, staying out. Looks like you're going to see the 64 of Brett Murphy get a lap back as he was not involved in that caution. Now Wes Gallo electing to come in to pit road to get his service. So that's going to cycle Graham Beck back to the lead. A few other drivers coming in. I believe they're going to be electing to top off. A lot of drivers on the first stop taking either fuel only, or a few drivers electing to take 4 tires fuel. I think a lot of drivers are going to be electing to take fuel only here. Top off as we get the one to go. Try to put those tanks as full as they can, see if they can make it the rest of the race without having to pit anymore. Again, we are working what is our second caution. Apologies for the issue with the graphics. They were displaying the first caution. 23 laps to go. We'll be going green here on lap number 29. We have just 22 laps remaining in tonight's event. Again, this is the 6th race of 15. The Spino Designs and Graphics National Series. This one is one of the 5 races in the Dash for Cash series. First race was at Texas earlier this season. Darlington will be coming up in a few weeks. It'll be your 3rd one of the Dash for Cash. Bristol, your 4th, a few weeks after that. And your season finale at Homestead is your 5th and final Dash for Cash race. So, drivers seem to getting a break from the 1.5 miles to come to the 2.66 mile super speedway for Talladega. Back on the 1.5 miles next week at Chicagoland. Off to a road course. Only second road course of the season. First one that they'll encounter 2 races on the road courses, though. Watkins Glen. It's a good mix of tracks, disciplines. These drivers a chance to show their skills. Needing a wide variety of driving talents to be able to contend for a championship this season as well. Pace cars pulling off. We are going to be getting ready to go green. Graham Beck leading the field. The outside line. Passero on the inside line. USA, Britain on the inside line. You've got Matt Moreau and Bryn George lined up on the outside lane. Passero with the jump on the inside, pulls away. He's got about a 2-3 car length advantage over USA. He's going to slot up to that high side. We'll see if he ends up diving back down in front of USA now that USA's got some momentum going with William Britton behind him. He does slide back in front of him. USA jumps to the outside line. Graham Beck abandons the outside line, jumps in behind the 13 of William Britton. It's just ahead of the 45 of Darren Staff. Staff pulls down low. He's going to drop to the back of the field as they work their way down the backstretch. Passero in the lead on the inside line with Britton. Tallman on the inside there as well. Middle lane, you've got USA Beck. Moreau outside lane, you've got Brennan Fielder and Wes Gallo. Beck jumps back to the bottom lane. He's going to sort in behind Alex Tallman. Passero still leading. He's got Britton to his outside. Behind him, we've got 3 wide. That's Fielder and Gallo trying to make some momentum on the outside lane. Seen Gallo, no stranger to running the outside here tonight. Our first-time user up there. Got a 3-car group, the inside line, and then 2 2-car tandems there working the middle and outside lane. Looks like Fielder and Gallo are going to jump back in. Oh, and we get a caution out again. It's going to be our 3rd caution of tonight here with 21 laps to go. Looks like Brett Murphy might have had a bit of an issue there. Let's see if we can find what happened to him to bring out this 3rd caution tonight. Looks like Brett Murphy running by himself coming into the tri-oval. He's going to have it on the apron there. Let's see if he clips the grass, if it gets him a little loose. Yeah, looks like he does get himself into the grass. Cuts across, comes back up the track. Not seeing anything that would have brought out the caution flag unless they're possibly calling it for debris on the front stretch because Gallo or Murphy's rolling. Looks like he's under speed, it looks like, but still moving. So I'm not 100% sure what exactly that yellow flag came out for. Nevertheless, working our 3rd one here on lap number 31 tonight. So that now puts William Britton in the 13 Speedweed Ford Mustang out in front, just ahead of the 2, or the 43 of Anthony Passero, the 7, James USA. Looks like so far all drivers electing to stay on the track. James Bomar in the 42, still on pit road. Extended repairs after that previous wreck. Tough break for him tonight. I'm sure he was looking to turn his season around and get a good points night out of it, possibly contend for a top 5. Making the Talladega probably was a good shot for him to make that happen. You saw Brett Murphy go by on the outside. He gets one of his laps back. So he's still quite a few laps off the pace. I think he's going to be 12 laps down now. I have 20 cars on the lead lap. Murphy was 11 laps down now. 12 cars, or 20 cars, excuse me, on the lead lap. Austin Doran and 25 coming in the pit road. We're going to be going green next time by. Getting the green flag here on lap number 33. Field lines up 2 by 2. Britton again going to be leading them on the inside. Sarah restarting 2nd. USA 3rd. Tallman 4th. Fielder 5th. Beck 6th. George 7th, Moreau 8th, Destroyer 9th, and Jara in 10th. It's like Austin Doran being scored multiple laps down as well, so actually 19 cars on the lead lap. Three drivers on pit road getting repairs. 3 cars still out of the race tonight. Out of our original starting 26. Couple heavy hitters too. Riley Marabello out. Austin Doran having troubles. So we can see a bit of a point shakeup tonight after the race, depending on if those drivers are able to make recoveries. We'll have 18 laps left to settle this. So we get the green flag back in the air. Britain going to be leading them to the green flag on the inside row. Bit of a mishmash start there. Looks like Britain just pulling to the bottom to let everybody by. Not sure if he kind of went early, so I'm not sure if there was a restart violation there by Britain or if he just liked to try to get out of the way. Nevertheless, gonna put James USA in the lead. He's got Fielder and Tallman behind him. Anthony Pissarro trying to hang on the outside, but no drafting help. He's gonna fall back. 54, Bryn George, 2 of Grant Beck gonna try to close up. Pissarro going to try to climb himself in there. Oh, as you see, Britain with issues. He slides off the inside line, hits the retaining wall hard. Out of the racing group, though, so we stay green as the rest of the pack marches on. Britain with some left side damage there. See if he can make it back to pit road safely and keep us under green flag conditions. Fielder jumps to the outside. He's going to try to get a run as they work their way back into the front stretch. USA getting a push from Tallman and Pissarro. George there on the inside. Moreau. Jara going to try to come up. Moreau with a big run. Jumps to the outside. Going to split. Fielder's going to slide back as he tries to side draft. Hang on to his competitors. Moreau and Jara trying to get the run on the outside. Moreau almost slots down in front of the Fielder. Kind of in between the 2 lanes. Fielder jumps in behind Pissarro on the inside lane. Tallman jumps to the outside lane. He's going to have Moreau lined up behind him. Graham Beck also joining up there. Joseph Jara going to stick to the outside line as he gets shuffled out. USA, Pissarro, Fielder, your inside 3. Tallman, Moreau, Beck, Jara. Beck goes back to the inside line, slots in 4th on that inside line. USA working that outside line, or inside line, excuse me, ahead of Pissarro and Fielder as they work their way back into the tri-oval. See 3 wide momentarily behind them. It's Brett Murphy working the outside. Again, remember, he is multiple laps down here. Trying to fight to work his way by the leader, get as many laps back as he can. Just 16 laps to go. Looks like he's going to slide up high. Got a couple drivers dropping their way to the back. Looks like Fielder electing to do that. Also had, I believe it was the 18 of Parker Collins sliding to the back as well. So a couple drivers may be thinking it's a bit too risky right now. With still a few laps left in tonight's event. Electing to save their vehicles, put themselves in the best chance to avoid a wreck if it does happen. USA still leading. Pissarro, Beck inside. Tallman, Moreau, Jara lined up on the outside. George, Declan Durba trying to close up on the inside line as well. 54, neon yellow Toyota Supra, and then the 37 black, white Chevy Camaro for Durba. And another outside line forming. Looks like that's going to be, I believe, 12 of Downey. 25 as well. Oh, we get the big one forming here. Big wreck. Looks like a lot of drivers involved in this one. Durba's involved in that. Pissarro's involved in that. Brian Lorenzo, Brady Floyd, Brendan Fielder, Chris Sawyer, all involved in that one. Some heavy damage for a few drivers. It's like Anthony Pissarro, Chris Sawyer there. You see some damage to the rear end. Pissarro with rear end damage. Brian Lorenzo's car being shown involved in that seems fairly clean. Brandon Fielder doesn't look too bad out of that. Chris Downey in the state water heaters. Chevy Camaro with a little bit of left side damage, both front and rear. He's going to come to pit road. So that one, fourth caution tonight, affecting the most drivers we've had. Try to grab you a replay of what brought that out. So you can see it looks like the 12 of Chris Downey comes down, gets into the field. Tallman gets into it, Graham Beck gets into it. Downey spinning there across. There's Brent George getting involved in that one. Tallman now sustaining more front-end damage as they continue to spin. I believe Brian Lorenzo's checking up for this. This is where he's trying to avoid seeing the smoke come in. Looks like Chris Sawyer gets into it. Oh, our contact up there. There's Pissarro coming down the track. Darren Staff trying to avoid it. Looks like some of these drivers trying to lock it up as best as they can. I think Fielder, Lorenzo, Floyd, Strayer, Downey all actually able to avoid too much in the way of contact out of this. Downey we saw had a little bit, but looks like 39, 32, 77, 20 all able to get out of that without too much. So let's take a look again, see what happens with Graham Beck. Seemed like it kind of all started there. So USA slides up in front of Downey. Downey tries to cut down in front of Tallman, and that's what ends up creating that mayhem there. It's again where you see that, and then Jara getting spun there. That's how Pissarro got involved in it. Jara gets into Moreau. So yeah, quite a few drivers wrapped up in this one, some with worse damage than others. It's like Graham Beck gets out of that without too much in the way of damage. So working our fourth caution tonight, 13 laps to go. Looks like everybody on pit road with the exception of James USA that is on the lead lap. Some drivers still on there for extended stays to repair damage, try to get their vehicles back out there as clean as possible. Aerodynamics matter heavily here. Body panels formed the right way, smooth lines, pristine shapes. Cars will not flow through the air as well, both when you're trying to draft up to your competitors as well as trying to get the handling or stay in front of them. It can hinder the handling of the vehicles as well as the overall top speed, slow them down, make it tough. So could be a long night, even with just 12 laps to go coming up for some of these drivers. You see Beck with some front end damage. We'll see how that affects him. He's got that in the front splitter and grill area on the front of that 2 machine. You can see that especially on the right hand side there, near the front grill headlight area of that Chevy Camaro. Some heavy contact there. We'll see if that affects him at all. Desperation levels are certainly going to be wrapping up. Driver's going to feel like they're running out of laps now, needing to start thinking about making their moves, put themselves into position. 10 for the win. Looks like USA going to elect to start on the outside. So we're going to be going green next time by. So that's going to put Beck on the inside. Staff behind Beck. Strayer behind USA. Lorenzo third on the inside row. Fielder third on the outside row. Then Bryn George, Wes Gallo. Round that out behind them. Your top 10 is going to be the 37 of Declan Durba and the 38 of Matt Moreau. A couple names that started towards the front, worked their way into the back to try to save from being involved in some of the stuff. We'll see if they can start working their way back up there. Seeing the 18 of Parker Collins sit in the back for the most part. Brian Lorenzo, for the most part, had also been sitting back there. See if either one of them can work their way back up. Austin Doran, through all that mess, puts himself back on the lead lap. So it's going to leave us with 18 cars on the lead lap now. Jar and some other sustaining damage out of that wreck. They're getting ready to go green though. Pace car is going to be pulling off momentarily as they work their way through turn number 4. 11 laps to go once we get the green flag. Fans rise back to their feet in anticipation of this restart. See if that inside lane starts to form up again, or if we see more 3-wide battles as we hit the closing stages of tonight's event. Back under green flag. USA getting the jump on the outside. He pulls out to a 3-car length advantage ahead of Strayer. Staff gonna push back on the inside row, try to give him the momentum. See Fielder lined up on the outside, going to line up behind Strayer. USA jumps in front of Beck, take advantage of that momentum on the inside line. Fielder locking up with Strayer. Byron Lorenzo jumps up to the high side. He slots up in front of the 07 of West Gallo behind Fielder. He's going to have almost 2 equal lines now. Fielder, Lorenzo trying to push Strayer to the front. Strayer ducks down in front of USA as they go back into turn number 3. Strayer leads the inside line. Fielder, Lorenzo, George on the outside line as they work their way around turn number 3 in the middle of 3 and 4. Strayer, USA back. Staff on the inside row. See, 2 wide through your front 6 or 7. Brady Floyd making a charge up to the front. Brett Murphy also running up there in the front. Again, Murphy is multiple laps off. See Fielder battling with Strayer up at the front. Lorenzo trying to make the 3rd lane work on the high side. He's going to try to get the run off of turn 2 in front of Bryn George. George ducking back to the inside. He goes all the way to the inside line. Going to try to suck up to the 2 of Graham Beck. Lorenzo able to slot in behind Brett Murphy. He now dumps in behind Bryn George just ahead of West Gallo. So we've got 3 cars lined up on the outside. Fielder, Floyd, Murphy. 2 of those on the lead lap. Strayer, USA, Beck. George lined up on the inside row. Across the line. Gonna complete lap number 41. We've got just 9 laps to go here tonight. Fielder trying to get that run. George jumps up to the outside. Tries to take advantage of momentum from the outside line, see if he can advance his position. Strayer still leading the front. Oh, Strayer jumps out of line, jumps down to the bottom. I think he's going to try to let some of this field go by. Fielder takes over the lead. He's in the slot. The inside row, working both lanes though, trying to defend that lead. Just ahead of USA, Brady Floyd's going to try to get the run. The outside fielder is not able to throw the block. Floyd getting pushed by Murphy and George. Again, Murphy off the lead lap. It's about 10 laps off right now. He's going to jump to the inside. Tries to go by Brady Floyd. He's going to lead in front of Brandon Fielder. I think Murphy's trying to keep himself as the front running car. Is the only car on track that is off the lead lap pace. Trying to take advantage that if a caution does come out, he can get one of those laps. We'll see if that messes with your race leaders at all. As he's pulling Fielder and USA on the inside row. Floyd, George on the outside. Lorenzo was up there, but Lorenzo jumps back to the inside. He's going to try to suck up to James USA. 7 laps to go this time by as they work their way through the middle of the tri-oval. Floyd still scored as your race leader as he works that outside lane. It's just in front of Bryn George. Brian Lorenzo jumping up there. Matt Moreau, Graham Beck out there. Also starting to see the 18 of Parker Collins line up on the outside, trying to position himself. Darren Staff trying to make a recovery back up to the front. Brett Murphy jumps out of the way. Let everybody, or excuse me, that's the 43 of Anthony Pissarro. Lap down, moves out of the racing group to let everybody by. Seeing 3 wide is Lorenzo and Parker Collins hooking up on the outside line, trying to build some momentum now. Working to the outside quarter panel of Bryn George. Inside line still has the most cars lined up. We're starting to see drivers with just 6 laps to go, trying to position themselves, get themselves to the front. You know it's happening in real life. Drivers have gone to the back, to the front. Dale Earnhardt Sr. with the most memorable one. We've seen it happen virtually too. We see which driver wants to accomplish that feat tonight. Lorenzo, Collins, Staff getting a massive run on the outside. It's going to put Brian Lorenzo to the lead momentarily. Inside row's going to get a bit of a run. Murphy trying to pull Fielder USA ahead. Pretty Floyd hoping that Bryn George can do something in the way of giving him a boost. But he feels kind of abandoned as it seems like everybody's either formed to the inside line or that outside line. That middle's kind of nowhere. James USA, though, jumps up behind. Bryn George is going to try to get a run there, see if he can get by Fielder. Looks like Lorenzo now going to go to the lead. Dives all the way to the bottom. Parker Collins also slides in front of Brady Floyd in the middle lane. Leaves Darren Staff outside. Matt Moreau, though, trying to tuck up to him. So we're still going to have a third line formed for the moment as they work their way onto the backstretch. Just 5 laps to go. Lorenzo leading that inside line. Parker Collins dives from the middle to the inside, takes over the lead. Collins started 3rd tonight. Elected to drop back early on in the event, now choosing to come towards the front, try to steal a race victory away here. Lorenzo slides up in front of Floyd, gonna get a big run. Collins dumps back to the bottom in front of Murphy. George, USA, Tallman still in the middle. Lorenzo dives off of Floyd out in front of George. Trying to run with whatever line's going to bring him the most momentum. Almost contact between USA and Floyd. Lorenzo working just in front of George there. Going to try to clear themselves in front of Parker Collins. They do. You see George all over the back end of Lorenzo. Wiggling every which way. A couple drivers sliding all the way down to the bottom. I think that might have been a case of somebody trying to avoid a wreck or getting loose. You see Murphy coming back up. Wes Gallo went down there. Lucas Strayer went down there. It's going to sort out, kind of spread out your front a little bit. We were a little more tightly packed. Now we've kind of separated out. USA Fielder on the outside. 8 cars, though, lined up on the inside. 3 laps to go this time by. Can we finish under the green flag? Or will we have more caution bring out? Put us under a green-white checker again tonight. I think Brian Lorenzo in the front's hoping we can stay green the rest of the way, but he knows he's a sit and duck. You almost never want to be the race leader coming to get the white flag. Just at such a disadvantage that the rest of the field can make their move, and you really have no way to combat it. Breck almost throwing a block on the 18 of Parker Collins. Parker Collins trying to work the extreme outside line. He's going to get almost no help, so he's going to fall back through the field. Inside line and middle line rocket their way out of turn number 3 into turn number 4 here. Lorenzo still leading George. Tallman, Strayer are on the inside line. Got Graham Beck, USA Fielder lined up on that middle line. Collins, Staff, Floyd, Moreau on the outside line. Strayer jumps up to the middle. He's going to be in front of Beck. Strayer going to try to take a shot at getting over the race lead if he can. Collins, Staff, and Floyd have something to say about that. They're going to run the high side. Everybody able to work by the 43 of Anthony Pissarro without too much issue. Lorenzo still holding down the lead just in front of Bryn George as they work their way down the middle of the backstretch heading to turn number 3. We see almost 3 wide. Almost 4 wide for a moment. 3 wide, though, about 4th on back. Parker Collins working that outside line, trying to will Darren Staff and Brady Floyd to push him to the front. Strayer just ahead of Beck. Fielder, USA bailed out. He jumped to the inside line. He lines up 5th on the inside line behind Turbo. Wes Gallo jumps all the way out to the outside line behind Brady Floyd. White flag in the air. This is the final lap of tonight. Lorenzo still leading that inside row. George running second. Tallman third. And we go 3 wide behind them, 2 rows deep. 3 rows deep, actually, now. So we've got 13 drivers all within 3/4 of a second here. They work their way down the backstretch the final time. See if Bryn George is content to finish second or if he's going to try to take the shot at the win. Who's going to push who? Somebody going to make a misstep in the contact and cause a wreck. We're coming to the closing corner of tonight's race. Lorenzo leads George out of turn number 4 onto the front stretch final time. Oh, there's your wreck. Brady Floyd's finishing. He's finishing hard. See, Lorenzo trying to hang on to it. Oh, Declan Durba gets into it. We've got contact all the way across the start-finish line. I think James USA wins that and was sliding. Like, the entire field just wrecks. You see all the drivers piling in. I believe James USA does get the win, just barely ahead of Brandon Fielder. It looks like Alex Tallman gonna bring it home as your 3rd place finisher. Wow, what a crazy finish. There is going to be a lot to unpack there. Let's see if we can get a replay here for you relatively soon. Take a look at what happened there. Let's take a second here and see if we can find a replay of what happened. That was crazy. I cannot say I've seen anything like that happen. That was a first to see basically the entire field wreck there. So let's take a look at this. This is going to be coming to the checkered flags. Looks like Parker Collins comes down. I think Brady Floyd ends up getting into Graham Beck. That starts the wreck behind. Let's see how James USA works his way through this. So you see the 77 of Brian Lorenzo. This is working their way. Okay, so that first wreck we saw there with Beck was coming into the trioval. That sent Downey going down. Let's watch this one, though. Lorenzo trying to stall out the run of Bryn George. Pushes up the track, comes back down. Declan Durba diving down to the inside row. Oh, USA follows him, makes contact with him. Spins Durba into Lorenzo, who gets into George. They all push up the track. Literally, all drivers there getting into it. Looks like Jesse Atkinson in the 00 getting into it. He goes off the track, pirouetting around. Yeah, entire field ends up wrecking out of that one. Parker Collins going sliding sideways. Yeah, it's better to just tell you the entire field, to be 100% honest. Brett Murphy's on his lid, spinning upside down. Darren Staff there. Lucas Strayer in it. Chris Downey's in this. The 25 of Austin Doran involved. Basically, everybody dies at the end. And no driver was going completely dead straight to finish that one. So, wow. Yeah, that's just... I don't even know how else to call that for you other than just amazing. That was definitely crazy to call that a finish for sure. So let's grab our 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 8 machine, Alex Tallman. I have got with me our 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 8 Chevy Camaro, Alex Tallman. Alex, did you think coming to the line that you were going to be able to come away with a 3rd place finish, given how that race finished tonight?
Honestly, no. I know, like, right before the previous caution I got wrecked, I was down on horsepower. My plan was just stay in line right there and just chill. But then I got forced up with the push in the corner by the 37, I believe. Which honestly, at the end of the day, helped me because I got P3. And I think I would have won if the 7 and 39 didn't get a huge boost there at the end. But it was a good race. Too bad, you wrecked the field too many times today. Then you won the race.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy finish to say the least. We saw you kind of working all 3 lanes really for the most part on the inside and the middle row. Was there a lane that you preferred today, or were you just kind of going based on either maybe teammates that were around you or whichever one you saw had the best momentum and choosing how to work your way up through the field?
Definitely preferred the middle, so that way you can side draft the bottom. I know there, like I was pretty much by myself with the 38, a couple car links back there, just side drafting the 7 and whoever was behind him, I think the 43, just there for a couple laps, and then before that wreck happened. But being able to side draft really helped me there to keep the momentum up beside the 7 car there.
Absolutely. With the way the cautions fell too, it seemed like it provided pretty opportune times for the entire field to come in, take 4 fresh tires and fuel, and maybe, kind of remove some of the pit strategy from it. Did that change plans for you, or were you really just kind of basing your strategy on if cautions were going to come out, or maybe splitting the race in half if it was going to go green all the way?
Yeah, if you saw there, I was up front at the beginning of the race before that first caution. That first caution came out, and we noticed that we were like 3.5 laps short from making it to the end. So then we came in a second time to top off. And my plan was just to ride in the back, use half throttle, save as much gas as I can. But then another caution came out, so they changed everything. Came down, put 4 freshes on, and drove to the field.
Well, certainly a great job navigating your way up through the field and bringing it home P3. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or thank you before we let you go celebrate that finish tonight?
Yeah, shout out to all my teammates keeping it clean tonight. I know Joey got wrecked, but animal animal style racing, keeping it good with the good qualifying, and then we had good speed. Just didn't turn out the way we wanted it to.
Well, congratulations on a great finish. Gonna hope to have more finishes like that for the season, and best of luck to you the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
That was your second place finisher, driver of the number 8, Alex Tallman. We're gonna get our second place finisher in here, Brandon Fielder, driver of our number 39. Got with me our second place finisher tonight, driver of the number 39 Toyota Super, Brandon Fielder. Brandon, I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Tallman. What a finish. How did you find your way navigating that wreck there at the end that basically took out the entire field and able to come away with second place tonight?
To be honest, it was just luck. I found just the right opening to get through. Unfortunately, I couldn't get through. It was going to end in me hitting somebody, but at least I was going fast enough where if I hit somebody, I would at least be going fast enough to maybe gain some positions myself. So a little bit of luck, but it was also nice that I avoided the first wreck on the front straightaway coming to the line there too.
Yeah, we saw that one kind of take out the back half of the field coming to that checkered flag. Did you have any kind of strategy maybe to drop to the back? We saw different drivers electing to drop off a turn two, move their way to the back, maybe try to avoid some of the chaos earlier in the wreck or earlier in the race. Was that ever something you entertained, or were you just kind of trying to keep your car out to the front and maybe stay ahead of all the chaos tonight?
A little bit of both. At the beginning of the race, just because I qualified up front, I figured I might as well try and race up front. once I got it, kind of got once it kind of got a little bit unnerving up front. Everyone kind of sliding all over the place. I decided to follow the back, just kind of hang out there. Luckily, each time I did hang out in the back, there was wrecks far enough in front of me where I could slow down and just brake. But there is one instance I would like to apologize to Brady Floyd was I think there was like 5 or 6 to go. I came up into him trying to avoid a car on the inside of me, and I got him. I clipped his left front and sent him up in the wall. I did not mean to do that. It was just a mistake and me just being aggressive at the end of these races. But yeah, this I'm glad it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, certainly a great job that way. We saw a couple times some different drivers able to make the extreme outside line work closer to the retaining wall. It seemed like most of the race it was either the inside line against the apron or that middle lane one groove up was the dominant lane, but a couple times the outside lane worked. Maybe speak to why you think that lane didn't really form until the end of the race. Was there something maybe with the setup that was preventing drivers from doing it, or you just think everybody was kind of content to try to side draft off that inside line and stall the momentum out as much as they could?
I think it's a little bit of that, and the fact that we didn't have a fast repair for this race, so everyone was just trying to be a little bit easy in relative terms for how hard everyone drives in this league for the first 90% of this race. The only way you could really get the outside line going a lot of the time, from what I saw, is if you had a big enough run on the guys on the middle line and you just decided to take it to the outside. And as long as you had a fast enough run, it seemed like you could at least stay there for a little bit. Uh, but it just probably wasn't something anybody wanted to really deal with at the beginning of the race.
Certainly great job navigating your way through the field. Again, anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before I let you go for the evening and celebrate that second place finish?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my family for watching. I'd like to thank my wife for allowing me to do this every week. I'd like to thank 921 Mobile DJ, a great family business of my family's. And I'd like to thank Shredder Plumbing also for being on the car as well.
Well, congratulations on a great second place finishing, navigating tonight's chaos, and looking forward to momentum from that finish and the rest of the season for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Was your second place finisher, driver of the number 39 Toyota Supra, Brandon Fielder. And with that, we are going to grab our race winner, driver of the number 7. That is James USA. James, you're the man of the hour. You were up front for most of the event today, able to put that Brandt machine across the start finish line first. I don't think there was anybody that was going straight across the start finish line, but somehow you were able to slot your way through that. Tell me what it took to navigate your way through that wreck and cross the line in first.
Like what what's his face? Alex said, it's pure luck. I honestly did not mean to turn at 37. I'm going to follow him down there, really all line, but I guess it's bumpers did not match, and I turned them. I honestly did not want to wreck the field to win, but I go into these races thinking people are going to do it to me. So I mean, if it happens to me, I get upset, but it's just tough to race these races because no one. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so hard to race people you don't know, and I know they don't trust me anymore for sure. Like next plate race, oh that James Usa guy, big trouble. But I mean, it just I was pure luck, pure luck.
Well, we saw you, though, navigating up in the front, working both the inside lane and the middle lane for the majority of the race. One of the field drivers that was able to stay up in the front and keep yourself up there most of the race. What was the key, you think, that allowed you to be able to stay up in the front rather than get shuffled back out of the draft as we saw some drivers have happen to them tonight?
That's a great question. I'm not too sure. I mean, just working the draft as best as you can. I mean, and being helped. I think getting help is the main thing of staying up front. If no one was pushing me, I probably would have fell back and been back through the whole race. But my teammates, Chris, I apologize to him for throwing a bad block. It's terrible. Austin Duran, my teammate too. It's too bad James Balmer got wrecked out early, but just getting help is the main key of being able to stay up front. But I think my blocks, I mean, they weren't too bad. It was wreck, only caused one wreck by blocking. But I think my blocks been pretty decent to stay up front.
Yeah, we saw a couple drivers really trying to get aggressive, work the extreme outside line, pick up some momentum. It seemed like you were able to kind of read that, ahead of time. What's maybe your key or something that you can share with all the viewers and the fans that allows you to maybe kind of prepare for these types of lines and the momentum that allows you to throw up there, get that block, kind of stop it without, like you said, causing too many wrecks or whatnot. Like, is there something you do in practice, or is it just something you kind of maybe talk through with teammates on to pick their brains and get that knowledge in your head pre-race?
I mean, I always just watch my mirrors, and if I see like a line forming and like getting a pretty big run, I don't like throwing late blocks. Like there's times where I know that if I throw the block, I'm gonna either wreck myself or hold the whole field. So I watch like my mirrors and just make sure they go up pretty early, not late, like a Stenhouse. Even though I'm a huge Stenhouse fan, but just a thing, just got tying the blocks almost perfectly. I did one block bad, that was a big one, but uh, there was times where me and Austin worked together pretty well, me and Chris. But I mean, just got to time your runs, time the blocks, but almost perfectly every single time for it to work.
We certainly were the one that was able to come out with the win by doing that. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before I let you go celebrate the victory tonight?
Shout out to my great teammates, Austin Duran, Chris Downey, James Bomar, this league for allowing us to race. You for streaming the race and commentating, because without you, no one would be watching this great racing. So I mean, that's really about it. Just my teammates, the league owners, and the broadcast team.
Well, congratulations on a great victory. Hope that gives you momentum that you can carry forward for the rest of the season. Put yourself in a good spot, and looking forward to see you back on the track next week.
Thank you.
Was your race winner, driver of the number 7 James USA Brandt Chevy Camaro. So that's going to do it for us tonight. We were able to finish tonight's race in regulation. No green-white checker this time, but that was not without the chaos for sure. I think that might be the first time I've seen the entire field wreck, although they were involved in the first wreck coming to try over across the start-finish line, but certainly crazy times tonight. But nonetheless, action all the way through. So we're going to take a look at our results. Again, James USA grabbing the win, his first of the season. Brandon Fielder finishing second. Alex Tallman third. Bryn George able to survive, brings it home in fourth. Brian Lorenzo rounds out your top five. See other notables. Parker Collins still puts it home in 10th. Wes Gallo up there for a top 10 this evening. Jesse Atkinson in the 00 able to bring it home in 7th there. A couple drivers having some rough luck getting caught up in wrecks. You see Pissarro finishing 18th. He was 4 laps off the pace. We roll back through the rest of the field. A few other drivers also getting tied up in wrecks earlier on throughout the race and having to retire early due to damage. So glad to have everybody tuned in. Looking forward to another great week next week at Chicagoland. Thank you for everybody, all the support tuning in. Thank you to Spino Designs and Graphics for being the title sponsor of tonight's event, and as well as the full season. And looking forward to another great race next week at Chicagoland Speedway. So for Spino Designs and Graphics, the Spino Designs National Series, Team Goon Squad, all the drivers, the fans, my name is Jacob Fescannon, thanking you all for tuning in and looking forward to seeing you back here, same place, same time next week. Have a great week, everybody.